Hey, you read the title. I made a new channel. It's called Wanderbots. It is my channel for, weirdly enough, I know most people think of VODs as like stream VODs. I actually don't really stream that much. This is just my channel for series and series-based content. If you've followed my channel for years, I used to do a lot of series. I used to do like 5 to 10 videos a day, each on a different series, and that was a lot of fun. I played through a lot of games. And then somewhere around 2018, YouTube killed all of my like long tail, so like people weren't watching my old like Fallout playthroughs anymore and a lot of my old series, but they were still getting enough views that I could kind of carry that on for quite a while, especially, you know, during the pandemic when everybody was watching YouTube videos. But somewhere around 2022, things got kind of bad for series. I was trying to just keep up with them and they just weren't getting views. People weren't finding them. It was annoying. It was impossible for me to keep up with. And so I eventually said, I'm burning out, I can't do this anymore. I'll do a couple of series here and there. Maybe I will stream over on the main channel, which is what I did do. I did do some playthroughs on stream. I did Lobotomy Corporation, I did I Am Future, I did a lot of stuff with friends, but even those weren't getting found. That a lot of stuff on the Wanderbots channel just gets lost for some reason. I don't know if it's the YouTube algorithm just actively punishing me for existing or what. So I figured I'd draw the line and say, okay, I'm just going to be putting all of my series-based content over on a new channel and have that be the place where I finish games. And I still will do some series here and there on Wanderbots, mostly on roguelikes more than anything else, that I can kind of pick up and put down depending on what my schedule looks like. But then otherwise, you know, if I have a game that has a like part 1 to finale, that's going to be over on this channel. So if you haven't already, if you haven't seen it before, I've been putting videos out on this channel for 6 months now, at least according to this. We do oldest videos. Yeah, 6 months ago, but it might have actually been 7. It was something like that. Anyway, yeah, if you're not already subscribed to the channel, head over and hit the subscribe button and add it to your subscription list. Hopefully YouTube will actually let you know when I upload. I have no idea. I've been fighting with the algorithm for years, but like I said, I've had this channel going for a while. I wanted to make sure that it had ample content before I said like, hey, this channel exists, there's one video on it, and then I forget about the channel for a while. I wanted to make sure that I was committed to it before I properly did a announcement. Just because otherwise, you know, I have a bit of, I don't want to say commitment issues so much as just like, I'm scatterbrained, I'm busy, there's a lot of things going on. And so I wanted to kind of reward myself for getting 6 months in and apparently almost 4,000 subscribers, which like for a small channel that I haven't announced yet, that's actually decently good. Especially one that is doing traditional old series format style. So yeah, please hit subscribe, please watch my series. It will help me a lot. Before I talk about why I've done this, I might as well talk about what's on this channel. So if you might notice, I've been playing through a lot of Voidling Bound. I covered it, was it a couple months ago, last year? And really enjoyed it, and people seem to really resonate with that video. And I was considering uploading the first part over on the main channel, and then eventually said, you know what, no, I think this channel deserves to have the part 1 and crossover, whereas like for some of my other games, I did the part 1 over on Wanderbots. So if you saw a couple days ago, I'd covered Lumentale. A couple weeks ago, I did the first episode of Lumentale, then continued on through here, and I think I did mention this channel as part of that. And I was playing through it for a while, and then Voidling Bound came out, and I just put it to the side. Anyway, as far as what I have available on the channel, I've actually gotten a lot more done than I thought. I played through all of Pacific Drive. I've played through a ton of Fellowship, though many of the videos are actually unlisted. You can still watch them through the playlist. I just haven't uploaded them publicly because it would be a nightmare to do so. The footage is also extremely out of date, and so I think I'm just going to do public releases of the Season 3 that I'm going to be playing with my friends soon enough. Played through all of Planet Crafter, which is a game that I've been wanting to finish for ages. In fact, Planet Crafter and Pacific Drive are the 2 reasons why I wanted to start, 2 out of 3 of the reasons why I wanted to start this channel, because both of those games I'd played, loved, only did one video on, and wanted to go back and finish them completely. So yeah, finished those 2. Did Roots Devour, which I did a video on, absolutely loved, and then did a full rest of the playthrough over on this channel. I went back and finished a couple of games, like I finished Jelly Diver and Space Rockbreaker. It's like only a 2-episode series, but hey, why not? Played some Heroes of Hammerwatch 2 with friends. Played a full series on what's currently available in Heart of the Machine for the 1.0. Apparently there's still more endings that they're planning on adding, and I will come back for more of that at a later date, but I had a very good time with that game. Digimon World 1, which is the third game that was the inspiration for making this channel. I played that when I was a child, wanted to finish it, never got around to it, never had a justification for doing so. Recorded a whole series before I even launched this channel. Some of you may have even seen it. Members only over on Wanderbots, where I was still kind of trying to figure out, okay, how do I want to manage this series? So I've taken those down at this point and re-upload them here. And it's a full series from start to finish. Not 100%. I pretty much am never going to 100% any game because that's way too much to ask. But, you know, decent number of episodes. Put some time into Glory to Goo because I've been missing Creeper World, and it offers a very Creeper World-esque experience while also having deeper gameplay in a lot of ways. Did a full playthrough of Forge Wizard, did a full playthrough of All Hail the Orb, 2 very good incremental games. Also pretty short. I think it was like, yeah, 6 videos, 3 videos. I was starting to do Bastion OS, but I think it was starting to hurt my hand. I forget what it was. But I really like that game. Unfortunately, I think a lot of other people didn't, but it's fine. Same thing with Vultures, which is like tactical Resident Evil. I had a good time with that one. I still need to finish the finale. Unfortunately, they had a game-breaking bug, but I plan on recording that sooner than later. Put some episodes into AutoForge since they were kind enough to put me in the game. Lumintale I just liked, but kind of burnt out on it. And then Voidling Bound I have been having nothing but a ton of fun with, and I've uploaded 5 videos so far. I've recorded 7. And immediately after this announcement video, I'm going to be recording a heck of a lot more to completion. And then after that, I think, if I time things correctly, we're going to be within spitting distance of Orb of Creation coming out, and that'll be the next one. So, might as well talk about why I'm doing this. Well, I mean, I'm sure you've all heard this song and dance from YouTubers in the past. The YouTube is killing my channel for some reason. I hate the fact that I have to be one of those YouTubers, but it does kind of feel like the main channel has not been doing too hot for a while. You know what? Let's look at some metrics. Okay, so this is going to look a little weird, maybe if you haven't actually looked at any of this stuff before, but this is the back-end metrics for my channel. This is where I get to see how many views I get per video, overall, so on and so forth, watch time, subscribers, impressions, click-through ratio. Impressions are how many people saw the thumbnail of the video go by effectively, you know, on the YouTube homepage, on the sidebar recommendations for like, hey, you watch this video, do you want to watch this video? At the end of the video, there's so many videos that pop up. That's where an impression is. And then click-through ratio is how many of those, like the number of people per 100 that clicked. So, you know, 3.7 people out of 100 clicked on any of my videos at a given time, which is kind of low, but for most of my channel's lifetime, the Wanderbots channel lifetime, that was fine because I was just uploading so many videos, it didn't matter. But I've discovered at some point along the way that YouTube only sends out notifications for your first 3 videos of the day, and so that immediately cut me down to a hard 3, and then even then there's diminishing returns past 1, so I've been slowly cutting back harder and harder and harder. But anyway, so this is my metrics page. I try not to look at it because it's the depths of madness. However, one thing to kind of point out here is this was functionally my channel's heyday. This was when things were going well, which I will point out is April 2016 to September 2018. After 2018, I was still doing fine, but it was mostly on sheer force of hard effort and work, rather than anything else. And so this represents the band of time where the YouTube algorithm actually liked me. And then after this has been the point where I've just been puttering along doing whatever. It's somewhat reliant on the YouTube algorithm to buoy me, but then also recognize that the YouTube algorithm is actively messing with me. That's the only explanation I can give. There are other videos that actually would have lines in here, but it's only showing me the top 5. And you know, more or less every single one of my highly viewed videos exists in this time period, with the exception of a game about digging a hole, which did absurdly well at launch because I was like the first person to cover it, and everybody was, you know, confused and interested because it sounded kind of fun. Anyway, so yeah, it's not that my channel is dying. It's not that it's dead. It's been fine. I'm keeping above water. But it really does suck that the heyday of my channel ended eight years ago, and then I've been on a slow decline ever since. And so, as a result, there's kind of that slow creeping dread, especially, you know, because I'm an American and very much we're looking down the barrel of probably Great Depression 2 or the Greater Depression. Who knows? Anyway, there is that creeping dread that, like, I might not be able to sustain myself as a creator on this channel on its own anymore unless the algorithm changes. And it might. You know, there's a very real possibility things are going to flip at some point, and all of a sudden, whatever my videos I put out are suddenly getting tons and tons of views. I'm certainly trying to make that happen, but it hasn't happened yet. And so it's one of those where, like, I was stressing myself out. I was researching clickbait, you know, how to make my thumbnails better, how to make them more effective, how to change my titles around, you know, switching my format, trying to edit things a little bit better, though I don't really want to go into highly edited stuff or terrible clickbait or adding, I don't know, tits to my thumbnails, unless it's like somehow appropriate. Like, I don't know, one of the characters I'm playing as is an attractive person. Okay, I'll put that in. But I'm trying very hard not to be one of those YouTube creators because I would just feel infinitely dirty if I really started engaging with, like, the bad levels of clickbait or the bad level of content farming. I don't want to do that. I want to maintain most of my integrity, because ultimately I'm going to burn out if I actually have to, like, sell it really hard or start acting like a complete a trash tuber, question mark. I don't want to, like, rag on this too much. It clearly works for some people. It just will never work for me. I'm too much of a, I don't know, I want to say a creative, but, like, old head as far as YouTube goes. I think I just can't do it. I've got the mental block that says, no, don't you dare. And so I don't. Anyway, so YouTube's algorithm used to like me, hates me now, and I'm still managing. You know, I'm in a comfortable spot to kind of pay rent, the bills, and still put some into savings, but in a way that, like, yeah, but if it drops further, that might not happen. And so one of the most obvious things that I can do as part of that is to simply say, okay, I'm going to split my effort into two baskets now. Previously it was Twitch and YouTube, but I don't like streaming on Twitch. I actually physically hurt myself. Part of the reason why I stopped was I literally hurt my back in such a way that I could no longer sit in my chair. Oh, it was both my back and my butt. I was sitting in a bad chair for way too long, and it got to the point where I could only sit in a chair for like half an hour at a time or maybe an hour at a time. And so I was like, well, no more streaming for me. All my eggs are in one basket. And I had started another channel called Wanderbot Prime a while ago, but I got stuck writing long scripts on, like, what is an indie game, or talking about certain more controversial topics. And then by the time the controversy, or by the time I was done with my script, the controversy was like 6 months past. And it's like, okay, never mind, this ain't working. And so at some point I will come back to Wanderbot Prime, but my heart's just not in it, and I'm not going to try and force the issue. So that's why I wanted to start Wandervods, so I could, one, go back to what I used to do, which is series, and have fun with that. Two, so I could actually work on a different type of content, so that if one channel's not doing well, maybe the other one's doing great. Or both are doing bad, but hey, you know, at least kind of they average out to be better than just one failing. And also just so I can finally play through games. One thing that was really burning me out and bumming me out was it's really fun trying all of the different games that I have on the channel. There's so many cool games that I get to showcase and try, and not have to worry about committing to going all the way to the end, because that might actually take hours and hours and hours and hours, and just not be a very fun time. But there were some games that I really wanted to see the end of. Heart of the Machine, Pacific Drive, and Planet Crafter chief among them, as well as some older games that I've always wanted to see through to the end. Yes, I know I can play them on my own, but that's just not as fun. I enjoy sharing my experiences with other people. It's fun. It's special. And also, there's a lot of games that people might not otherwise see that I can now showcase and highlight and potentially encourage other people to play as well. And so that's the huge reason why I wanted to start the channel, because now that I've actually started doing full series and I actually have a place to put a full playthrough up, I feel a lot better. I don't feel burnt out in the way that I used to. Now I just feel burnt out when I look at my Steam library and I'm like, oh god, how many games have come out? How many do I have to play? Like, I guess I can switch to this in a moment. Here, I'll pull up my Steam library for a second. This band is roughly what came out in this week. Let's scroll down. Yeah, about this band. 2 Fights, 2 Spaces, like the start of the week, and this is roughly the end. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, that's a demo, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 games. 13 games in roughly 5 days. Even at a rate of 3 per day, I could cover them all at 3 per day, but that is way too much effort, and the diminishing returns are killer, and then I'd never see the end of any of them. So instead I pick, roughly those 5 of those games to play in the given week. Maybe I go up to 7, and then I pick 1 or 2 that I'm like, oh shoot, Voidling Bound is really fun. I want to see that through to the end. But still looking at my library, I'm like, oh god, there's just so much. How am I ever going to get through all of this? And so, I don't know. That's like the singular source of burnout apart from modern times that I'm still experiencing. And so, like, yeah, I actually feel a lot better now that I've started doing this, and it's good for me. And I think that's a lot of what I needed to actually feel positive about what I'm doing, both as a creator for Wanderbots and also a person who plays games through to the end on Wanderbots now. So what are my overall plans? Because obviously there's the doom and gloom about like, oh no, my channel is dying, whatever will I do? To which I'd largely respond with, I don't actually think the channel is dying per se. I think once again, the YouTube algorithm is like a weird tide. Sometimes things are great, sometimes things aren't great. I'm just rolling with it and have been rolling with it for ages. The overall plan is largely to just keep doing what I've been doing, just splitting my attention a little bit more, so that rather than burning myself out, spinning my wheels endlessly on one channel, I have multiple things that I can kind of be working on. So, at least as far as things go on Wanderbots, literally nothing is changing. It's just going to be daily episodes. I might not be doing as many days of double uploads, because for the last couple of years, I went down to 1 to 2 videos per day. And for most of the time, it was either two uploads, like 2 videos, 1 in the morning, 1 in the afternoon, or it was like a video and a stream. And that was fun, but still wasn't working. And once again, wasn't really like making the algorithm suddenly love me. And it's so weird. It's so weird to frame everything from the perspective of an alien entity hates me, and now I have to figure out how to like reconfigure my life so that either forgets that I exist long enough that I can, survive again or something. Anyway, so main channel, I'm going to be uploading a little bit less just because I recognize diminishing returns are a painful thing to have to work around, and it's just not worth the effort and stress. Instead, I'd be putting the effort into this channel, so I'm going to be doing daily episodes on both. So it'll be an indie impressions video on Wanderbots and an indie impression, or not an indie impressions, and a full playthrough video on VODs. I can't promise every single one of them is going to be the same game genre just because my tastes are so varied. I'm going to try and keep it to largely indie games just because I don't really like a whole lot of AAA games nowadays. Nowadays, they're all very safe and boring and not very creative. And like 90% of them feels like we're finding out or using AI. And I just do not like generative AI in any way, shape, or form, want nothing to do with it. And so it's easier and safer for me to just keep covering indie games. Hey, I already do that. It's nice and easy. One of the goals that I do want to do for this channel is to have a long backlog. One of the problems that I do run into, Lumentale is a good example of this, is something where I burn out, can't finish a game, and then it just kind of dies. That's almost unavoidable. There are some games, especially like indie games, that I'm playing effectively just like the game comes out and I immediately start a series on it. Sometimes you'll just find out that, hey, this game just does not have enough in it to, really want to see through to the end. And so, at least from my perspective, there will be some games that do not get finished. However, there are a lot of games like Voidling Bound and so on and so forth that I want to see through to the end. I'm going to try and actually pre-record full series on them way in advance, just so I can pace it out, so I don't have to be putting as much effort in on a daily basis. So I can do like 6 episodes in one day and then 0 episodes the next. And one of my hopes is, as part of this, is to either make the videos available to members or Patreon subscribers in advance. So if you want to watch all of Voidling Bound now, you don't want to wait, that's an option. I still have not decided if I want to make it Patreon based or members only. And so now is your time to actually chip in on that one and let me know, because that would be extremely useful to know, because I've always wanted to make Patreon work, but YouTube memberships are really easy to work with. I also want to start doing series with friends again. I don't know how available that's going to be. Most of my friends are very much roguelike YouTubers. We rarely ever play a game more than once or twice, and so it might be a little tricky to get groups together for that, but Last couple of years, I've been streaming with some members of the Wholesomeverse called the Sunday Crew, and so at some point we might reform and start doing full playthroughs of games again. I really want them to get. I really want to get them to play EDF with me. I think that would be a hoot. But then also, I also especially want to play things with Shell again. We haven't been recording together in ages, and I really miss that because that was some of the best quality time. That also was work, I guess. And so I think we are currently waffling between a older N64 game that just recently got an announcement for a remake that threw a wrench in our plans, or Guild Wars 1, because Shell and I literally wooed her with Guild Wars 1 back when we were in college, because she was like, oh, I always wanted to play it, and, you know, Christmas rolls around and I give her all the expansions, and we just play hours of it together, and got married. Not exactly in that order, but still, there was years between the Guild Wars and the married, but still, I've been missing playing with her, and we've always wanted to play through Guild Wars 1 on camera. It's also been 20 years since we last played, or not 20 years, 10 years since we last played, 20 years since I seriously played Guild Wars, 10 years since I, you know, played with her, and so we want to see that through to the end, especially because they just announced Guild Wars 3, and I want to play that and showcase that as well, because there aren't a whole lot of MMOs I really want to put time into anymore, but I love Guild Wars, I love ArenaNet, and I want to see that through to the end, because that's a very good series, and also they said they're never going to use generative AI, so that's immediately like a, hey, cool, I can trust you. So the last thing that I'm going to be doing on Wanderbots that I haven't started doing yet, and probably will start doing very soon within the next week or two, is I'm actually going to be taking a bunch of older series that I liked on Wanderbots and making them unlisted or maybe even private, and then re-uploading them as rerun series on Wanderbots. The reason for this is, one, because nobody's watching them on Wanderbots anymore, or like only a handful of people are. There's a lot of series that I really enjoyed that didn't actually get the viewership that I thought they deserved, either because bad timing or any number of things, and so I want to re-highlight them, even though they might not ever get the viewership that they deserve. But I want to at least give them a chance of a second wind of sorts to be like, hey, this game's still really good and wildly underrated. Maybe give it another shot. So games like Zanki Zero, or some other ones. I might re-upload Wandersong and Chicory. And then all of my stream VODs that I put up over on the main channel, I will probably re-upload as VODs here as well. Specifically Lobotomy Corporation. I think some people might be kind of hoping to hear this, but I want to re-upload Lobotomy Corporation as a series on this channel. And then I want to go back and finish Ruina. We did a partial playthrough of Library of Ruina on Wanderbots a year and a half ago, last year, something like that. Time is imaginary. Anyway, I have yet to finish Library of Ruina. I've been wanting to finish it for ages. It's just, the game is hard, and Shell kind of hated how often I was losing fights. Yeah, can't blame her. And so, as part of that, want to go back and finish Lobotomy Corporation, or re-upload Lobotomy Corporation, finish Ruina, and then start releasing that on Wandervods as well, because that is one of those like white whale games that I've been wanting to finish. And then maybe I'll dive into Limbus Corporation because, or Limbus Company, just because I heard a lot of good things from that one. Anyway, apart from that, overall series is obviously right now main focus is Voidling Found, then switch over to Orb of Creation, and then I guess the last kind of series thing that I can 100% confirm that I'm going to do is I do want to play through every single Digimon game. I'm not going to necessarily play through all of them to the end. I put out a video on Digimon World 2. That is as far as I will go because that game just does not have enough going on for it to warrant a 80 episode playthrough. But I'd like to play through Digimon World 3 and then also finish Time Stranger, which I'd started on the main channel, but never actually got to the end of. And then also Survive, because I want to finish some certain franchises, some certain series that I've never showcased or finished myself, or they're just special. So I also probably want to tackle Mega Man Legends, even if it's unfinished. Yeah, so that's kind of generally what my plan is going to be. A lot of this is also going to be interrupted by, you know, whenever a cool new indie game comes out and I'm like, holy shit, I need to see this through to the end. That's probably going to always interrupt and be like, nope, time to go play that now. And then I'll go back to whatever I was working on beforehand. And then, you know, maybe also double uploads if I absolutely have to, if I have too many videos and so on and so forth. The other thing is, this may not be the only channel I'm making this year. We'll talk about that later. For now, I guess, sincerely, once again, I hope you go over to Wanderbots and check it out. It's just youtube.com/@Wanderbots. I'll also have a link in the description below, so if you want to get to it, just go click on that link and hit subscribe. And please, watch my series. Convince the algorithm that this channel is actually worth seeing and promoting. Because truly, if I can get Wanderbots to be even half as successful as the main channel has been, that's going to give me a lot of leeway when it comes to working on projects, both on this channel, or on the main channel, on Wanderbots, and other projects and stuff. Because, yeah, right now it's just been spinning my wheels, and I don't want to keep doing that anymore. Anyway, I guess with all of that said, thank you all so much for watching, and yeah, I guess see you on Wanderbots, or this channel, or wherever.